Alright, so I'm back here with another tip for you guys anyone that has new Ryzen 9. So basically I had the Dragon Center installed for MSI, and I decided to mess with it a little bit, so I tried to enable the extreme performance, and it was asking me to take off the game boost, which was enabled in the BIOS. So when I clicked it, it said restart, so I restarted. Blank screen, no keyboard. I had this issue before with a Windows update, so I knew right away I had to clear the cmos. So I cleared the cmos, restarted it a couple of times, made sure everything was working, went back into BIOS, did the same thing again, put the game boost on, put the XMP on, and I fixed my fan curve and stuff. Restart, blank screen, reset cmos, come back in again. Messed around with Dragon Center, try to change settings in there so it gets you reset. Did it again, went back into the BIOS, same thing, reset the BIOS, cmos, updated the XMP, game boost, fan curve, restarted, same thing, blank screen, cleared cmos, get back in again. This time I uninstalled it, uninstalled the SDK, and the Dragon Center, and I restarted, booted up, then I went back into the BIOS, I turned gaming mode on, saved it, came back in, went back out again, went back into the BIOS, turned the XMP back on so I could get the the RAM to operate at 3600 megahertz. And so now I'm back in. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to restart again. And this time, let's go into the BIOS, fix the fan curves, because the reason why I was messing with the Dragon Center, which was working before I started actually messing with the performance profile scenarios. So I may reinstall it again because I want to be able to mess with the fan curves from within the Windows environment. So let's see if the fan curves have anything can affect it. So right now, when you enable game boost, right, it automatically puts your fans to 100%. Your CPU fan is 100%, and the video card fan is 100%, I believe. So what I'm going to do is enable smart mode. What I'm going to do is set these back to default, the curve. Then I'm going to go to my system setting. I want it to be PWM. See, the fan noise went away. So if I set this to default, it's going to put it back. See, it went back to max. So most of the noise is being generated from the CPU case fans. So at 85 degrees, we're at 100%, 85C. At 70C, we're at 100%. So I want these to kind of match a little bit. So they have it at 0, 20, and 2020. So let's see if we can just get that. 0, 20, and 2020. Right? And then after that, we go to 65C, 75. So 75, 60C. Oh, I'm sorry, 60C. I'm looking at the camera, I wasn't looking at this. 60C, 75, come on. Right. And let's see, 70C 100%. So 70C 100%. So let's just put this at 65 to 100. So that way, we'll have more cooling coming in, right? And the chipset fan, let's change that to boost mode. I'm not gonna mess with this curve. let's close this. Let's hit F10. So let's see what happens now. So I'm gonna save it. And let's go back in. So, you know, I wanted Dragon Sensor to basically mess around with the Mystic Light. So you see my keyboard turn back on. If this wasn't working, I wouldn't even get this keyboard to light up. So, now my only thing is basically the fan curves. You know, when I was in the game, I guess I should use CPU Z to see what's going on with that. Maybe I don't need the entire Dragon Sensor. Maybe I'll just install a Mystic Lighting Center, just mess with the lighting. But you know, it's always cool to look at these other things. But the Dragon Sensor is really the issue here, because once I installed it, if you know, you just saw me go through all the settings again there and fix it, and it's working properly. So the only thing is my fan curves, you know, I had set these before, but it seemed like they weren't turning on at all. So I'm not sure if it was the Mystic Center, the Dragon Center overriding it, or what. Now, let's see here. Why isn't this showing me the fan speeds? I just look right here, I guess. Task Manager. Performance. So now, my memory still remain the same, right? And my CPU is boosting up to 4.1. Now, what I noticed with the MSI Dragon Center, when I turned the game mode on and it had extreme performance on, it was getting like, I think 4.7 or something like that. But yeah, let's see, Resource Manager. But yeah, if you're having trouble, I would suggest uninstalling the software, the Dragon Center, and that should really just fix your issue. Alright. So I foolishly installed the Mystic software. And as you can see, just a few seconds ago, everything was working fine. But now you can see that it doesn't work anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to hard restart this. See if I can get something. If it doesn't, then I'll have to reset it again and just go through the whole thing again. Just give it a couple of seconds here and try it again. So let's see what happens. So when I installed the software, I had to do a reboot. Keep our fingers crossed. I don't see the keyboard lighting up, so that's not a good sign. Yeah, it's taking too long. It would have happened already. Yep. So there you go. So that's an example of what happens. I think it definitely has to do with the Mystic software. But so what I'm gonna do is reset it again, update it again, and then if it doesn't work with the application already installed, I'm just gonna have to uninstall it and just call that a day with that. So, you know, I cleared cmos, right? Let's boot this. Put the switch up. Turn this power back on. And now you're gonna see that it's gonna come back on. It's gonna tell me if I want to load defaults. I'm going to load the defaults just to make sure it boots back up. I'm going to just leave the Mystic software installed. And I want to see if I can get it to work with this Mystic software. Oh, looks like we have no dice here. Oh, never mind. There you go. You see the keyboard lit up. saying the same thing here. So I'm gonna, just to make sure I get it to boot, I'm gonna go hit F2. It's gonna boot back up. And you know, the funny part is I didn't expect this to happen because I only installed the Mystic software. So the Mystic software must be doing something else other than, you know, that somehow affects the BIOS. I'm not sure, but definitely you got an MSI card or you got an MSI motherboard. You know, it's great to have that nice software, but if it's useless, you know. Right here you see Mystic MSI right there. So let me see if it loads. And just go back to Task Manager real quick. And it's weird, without the game boost, it seems like my PC is actually boosting higher. It's really weird. I'm not sure what that's about, right? See, it's 4 point. So it has a pretty big range. I guess the game boost keeps it at a higher clock speed. I'm not sure. Right, so it's like throttling, going back and forth. And the memory you see reduced back to 2133. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna restart it. And you can hear the fans are definitely revving up. Alright, restart anyways. Now I got the flash on here because I got the light off. Okay, so now I'm in the BIOS here. I'm gonna turn this back on. I'm gonna turn back that profile on. I'm gonna just do everything in one shot. This is so annoying. I'm gonna come in here. Gonna put this smart fan back on. Set the defaults. Nope. Put this back here. Put this back here. Set default. Oh, I can't do that for this one. I'm gonna go back here for the RAM shit. Let's put it on game boost. So I basically wanted this to be, you know, the same, right? So I believe it was 2020 020 and 2020. Okay, see how fast I can do this. 020 and 20C 20 and 6575 speed. So at 65 degrees, right, we have 75 fan, right, 65, 75, and then at 100% fan speed, we're at 70 degrees. And I think I had set this, okay, so I matched it, right? So basically, when CPU source, let's just lower this to 65 at 675% at 70 degrees. Yeah, 75, right, at 60, and then let's go 65 at 100. So that way these guys kick on, start revving up a lot faster. And close this. Now let's see what happens when I save it. F10, yes. If I don't get back in, it's gonna be once again, it's gonna be that MSI software that I need to, just the Mystic Light that I need to uninstall again. That's messing up my system somehow. So let's see here. The screen is blank, so I think, yep, it's the software. see we're not getting anywhere with this. Alright, so once again, I hate powering this computer off like this, but I'm gonna power him off. Alright, now plug in. Hold the CMOS button for like 10 to 15 seconds. Now I'm looking at the camera recordings. I know that, you know, it's the time. I'm looking at the time on the camera. Alright, so that light's off there. Let's plug this guy back in. It's so whack that that software doesn't work like that. And we're gonna flip this back on. Power it back on. And let me just plug my phone in. So you see here, let's go. See, my screen is actually lit up before it was all dark. And you're gonna see the keyboard's gonna light up. So I'm not sure what the issue is with the MSI software, but something's definitely wrong with it. See, there you go, the keyboard started back up. Once again, same thing. I'm gonna hit F2 because I want to go in. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go in and uninstall the MSI software. You know, what's weird, it was actually working before, so, you know, it could be that I have to install the software before I do the overclock stuff, because I think that's what I did initially, but I don't feel like playing with it, you know what, and I don't really necessarily need it, because it was already synced from before, and it looks like it's synced again already, so let's just go back, Task Manager here. We can see that everything is just back to where it was before. Alright, the memory is still the same. So I'm gonna just uninstall the let's uninstall this guy. Right? It's funny, right here. Misting lights. Uninstall. Yes. It's weird, it took 2 seconds to install. Now it's taking forever to uninstall. Cool, thanks. I'm gonna close that. Let's just make sure there's no other MSI. Alright, there you go. I'm gonna just restart it. I'm gonna restart, come back in again. And then next time I restart, it's gonna be to change the settings. So what I'll do is I'll put the, since I got it to work this way the last time, I'm gonna put the game mode on. Actually, you know what, I'll just put all the settings on and try it. Maybe it's not the MSI. Maybe it is the fact that I put all the settings in the BIOS on at the same time, then tried to save it. I don't know. But we'll see. Alright. Just let it boot up. Alright, so RAM is staying the same. Come on, guy, boot up, boot up. I think that's it. That's all the software I have to load. Let's restart it one more time again. Boy, it's annoying, but you know, I actually like some of the stuff in the software, but whatever. I'll just do it from the BIOS. Maybe you just need a new BIOS update. They have a beta BIOS, but I'm not gonna. Alright, so this game mode on, turn that on, go to fan info, go back here again. This is what, the third time I'm doing this. All set. set the default that way, put this back here, put this on. Automatically you hear the thing go down, the fans drop, system fan, so it's 20, 20, 0, 20. And you'd think I'd memorize this already, right? So the fan's minimum is 20%. So up to 20 degrees. And then I believe I put it at, what was it? 65, 75. So I think I put it at 60, 75. 75, 60, right? And then I think I had this at 100% at 65. Okay, and I had this at boost. Good, 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 close. That's good, that's good. Let's try it again. F10. Alright, let's see if it's a combination. Maybe it's all these changes at once causes the system to, you know, not want to boot up. Apparently that's not the case because my keyboard's on. So it is the Mystic software. Dragon Center. That sucks. Oh well. I can always change my RGBs anyways. The only thing I can't control is the RGB on the game card, but I can't even see it anyways right now because of my computer position. So the main thing is, as long as the fan curves are being followed. I think when I had the Mystic software, the fan curves on that were so crappy. So let's check this again real quick. Right, performance, right? So the CPU, you can see it's like locked at 4.1 gigahertz, it's not moving. And then my memory is back to the 3600 megahertz again. So anybody having this issue, Mystic software. Alright, and just to make sure that's not a fluke, let's hit him with a restart. Right, just to make sure, okay, well, just booted up. Maybe didn't want to boot back up again after this. Let's see. It's taking a while, I guess. Something was still loading, maybe. Let's see. So now you see, like, having an RGB keyboard in the mouse is pretty good because it can actually tell you something's wrong with the computer. So let's see what's going on here. Oh wow. So it isn't the Mystic software. It's the BIOS. Look, it didn't boot back up. So now we have a different problem here now. Okay, well, gotta look for another solution then. So I'm not sure why when I restarted it just now it didn't boot. But I just powered it off and I turned it back on and it went right back through, so. Oops. So I'll leave it on for a little bit, see what happens. And then we'll see, I'll probably follow up. So basically what was happening was the MSI software had kept my game on silent mode. So essentially my computer, that's why the GPU temperature stuff were a lot higher. It was like 10 degrees more. CPU temp I think was like 85 or something like that. And now you can actually see that the temps, the fans are on, the curves here are actually working. So yeah, MSI software is no good. So I decided to update to the latest beta BIOS using the M flash. So downloaded the file, unzipped it, put the folder onto the flash drive, restart, go into the BIOS, click on M flash, computer restarts. It brings up this BIOS updating window where you select the file from the folder that you just placed into the USB which is connected to your computer. And then once you do that, it's gonna start updating the BIOS. So let's see if this actually updates this newer version, which just came out on 1/12/2021 versus the other BIOS I think was maybe a month, 2 months ago or something like that. So let's see if this goes through, because this was the initial BIOS I was using to flash the computer when I first got it, so that it would be able to recognize the chip. So let's see what happens. Let's just wait and see. And I think the issue that some people were having with the installing the BIOS using the flashback button, I think it has to do with the way the file is formatted, because I noticed on the USB and in the directions they have online and stuff, they have it as the 8, what is it, file size fragments or whatever it's called. They selected like the smallest one, which is the I guess 8 megabyte. So I guess when you're formatting a drive with FAT32, you need to pick the 8000 whatever it is, not anything higher. Even though the one I used before to update this to the previous BIOS was I think 16 megabytes, I think, something like that. Or is it 8 KB, 16 KB? I don't remember. But you'll see when you go into the formatting options. So let's just keep our fingers crossed that this thing actually updates. Once it's updated, I'll try to see if I can do the RAM overclock again in the BIOS, because that's really the only thing I need from the BIOS. I actually like the MSI software, even though it kind of does, I think it probably does contribute to some of these bugs, but you know, being able to actually just change the settings while you're on Windows makes it a little bit easier. So I think the original flash took maybe like probably like 10 minutes. So let's see how long this takes. I started recording maybe, I don't know, let's say give it, be generous, 30 seconds after I click the button to actually update this. So, and when I did the flashback button with the BIOS initially, the light never came off, right, until I tried a different USB stick. It actually took the 10 minutes to flash, and then it the light actually turned off. So this one, once it's completed, supposedly, I saw something blink. Once it's completed, it should automatically restart the system, and we should be good to go. So let's see what happens. Oh, CPU. So once this updates, we'll see what happens. Then CPU is 91. Well, it's not that bad. 33. Keep looking at the Fahrenheit and not the Celsius. Okay, it's going. A lot of people are having the same issue with the RAM. I think I read somewhere that 32, a lot of people are having success with 3200 megahertz. So I might try, if I can't get to 36, I'll try the 32. If not, I'll just leave it at the 2133 until another BIOS update comes out to fix it, because I hate having to keep clicking the cmos, resetting the cmos every single time I change the BIOS settings. But this is the latest one, so hopefully they did something, on January 12th, 2021 to this file. But this is still a beta, so they can probably add something to this file next week, and it might fix something. But the main thing for me is I needed to go back, because it was working initially at 3600 megahertz. I messed around with MSI software, and then I had to restart, and it said something about it might update something in the BIOS or whatever, and just click OK, and then that was it. From that point, 36 wasn't working anymore. So if you got a fresh build, I would say probably don't install the MSI software. But I like the application. Being able to change stuff while you're in Windows, you know, on the fly, right? So if you want to change, you know, like use the fan boost, the cool boost, it's probably other softwares, but you know, I just want to stick with the manufacturer software. Okay, looks like we're coming up to the end here. CPU temperature holding steady, which is yeah, I guess it's like 20 degrees above the room temperature, maybe 15 degrees. 97, 98, 99, 100. Don't get stuck on 100. Okay, there we go. We got it shut off. It's starting back up. Computer's on. Let's see if it worked. Don't tell me you took all that time and you didn't work. I'll give it a few minutes. I don't think it worked. Oh, yes. Okay. Oh, I didn't check that thing. Alright, let's just boot up into Windows. Please boot up into Windows. I'd restart it again, huh? Okay, so that's something. You gotta wait like a couple of minutes basically for it to do whatever it's doing. It's taking a long time though. Now let's see if I think now my BIOS version, I think I get that in system information, right? Yeah, right here. So it's the BIOS updated. So now the next step will be to test to make sure I can get the RAM to work. Let me see, task manager, phones, memory. So it's still, and while this user scenario, you can click on custom, right? And then you can go into these settings. Right, the only thing here that I don't see is how to actually change the speed for the RAM, because this is literally what I have. These are the timings I have for this RAM. So that's why, you know, I have to basically just get into the BIOS to try and get it to work. Alright, so I reinstalled the new BIOS. I finally went back in and I changed the, turned the XMP on, I turned gaming mode back on, and I fixed the fan curves in there. And what I noticed prior to doing that was this software, the Dragon Center, right? All of my settings were here. I turned off some of these things before I actually went in and overclocked it. But this user scenario was the initial cause of my problem. You see how this upper right hand corner here where it says scenario is blank and it says game mode on? This was the original settings that were here when I had my computer to its current state, right? You can see here it's back to 3600 megahertz, and the game mode locked. I guess it locks it as 4.15. I'm not sure. I didn't notice it going up. It was actually getting better overclocks, I think, or higher clocks without being locked. But I guess, you know, maybe in the game it'll be better. So if you were to use the software, right, just make sure you don't play with this one right here, because I'm 100% sure when you click this, it's gonna mess up your game, your computer. Hardware monitor, I'm not gonna use anything with this. I had this on before I took it off because I set the curves. True color, well, you know, this is pretty good. Put it on gaming. LAN manager, I don't really use it, but it's on. And then I have this here to sync my RGB fans on my video card. Now, I'm not too sure how it's not syncing with the Razer keyboard and stuff, but it doesn't matter. I'm not really looking at this. So right now, it's not synced. If you have these fans that I installed here, if you watch my videos, if you wanted to sync these with your Mystic software, you have to set, they come to the reset switch, or you can use your reset switch in your case to work as a way of changing the colors to this. If you press it for 5 seconds and you hold it down, right, now it's synced with my video card's RGB, right? I had initially gotten the RGB RAM and everything, so let me just show you it in action here real quick. I think I had changed a couple of these profiles, so now I'm going to change it to the white lights, I guess. There you go. So now my video card should also be white. Hopefully this helps somebody.